Hello YouTube and welcome to my next tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create a simple contact form and have the information submitted to that contact form sent to whatever email address of your choice. I'm making this video, it was a special request by a follower of mine called Mulan from Twitter. So hello Mulan, this is especially for you. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, our contact form is going to be using a programming language called PHP. So the first thing we need to do is to install a program called Zamp. So if you head over into your browser, I'm just gonna search for Zamp, that XAMPP, and search, and you'll see the first result that comes up, apachefriends.org. You click on that and download Zamp for whatever operating system you're using. Zamp is available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. I'm doing this demonstration on Windows, so you would download this, but I already have Zamp downloaded over here. And the next thing that we want to do, we want to download a text editor called Visual Studio Code. So go and search VS Code, and you'll see the first result here, code.visualstudio.com. Click on that, and once again you'll find Visual Studio Code available for Windows, and if you're using Linux or Mac OS, you can click here for other platforms and you can download for whichever platform you want. So you should download those files. I already have them downloaded, so I'm just gonna first of all install Zamp and click yes. So the installer is just gonna start up. So it's gonna give us this notice, just say okay, next, next. The default is fine. You want to take note of here the folder that it's going to install Zamp to, because that's going to be useful later, but the default is fine. So I'm just gonna do that. It wants to open. Alright, let's tell it to open with Chrome. So that's, yeah, it's just some configuration files, not really important. Let's say next. And now it's installing Zamp on our system. So this is going to take a bit of a while, so let's just be patient while it does that. Okay, so while it's installing, I guess maybe I can talk a bit about Zamp. Zamp basically is a collection of software that we can use to run web servers on our local computer. So Zamp, I'm not sure what the X is for, but the A stands for Apache. Apache is our web server. The M stands for MySQL, which is our database. The two P's, one P stands for PHP and the other one stands for Perl. Now, PHP and Perl are programming languages that we can use to create dynamic websites. So what we really want for this project is the first P for PHP. Okay, now it's gonna, Windows Firewall is gonna ask us for that, so let's allow access and click both those boxes. So PHP is the programming language that we're gonna use, and we are not going to use MySQL, the database. The other program that we're going to use is Apache, which is the web server. So Zamp is completed. Yes, we do want to start with the control panel, so click Finish, and we'll select English. That's good for us. And now it starts up the Zamp control panel. So let's minimize this for now, and then we're going to go ahead and install Visual Studio Code, which is our text editor. Let's accept the agreement. The default install path is fine. Visual Studio Code, yep. And we want to click this add code to, let's just click all these boxes. All right, great. Now Visual Studio Code is installing. And while okay, there we go. So we don't want to launch it just yet. Let's click Finish. And now the next thing that we want to do is we want to download the code that we are going to be working with. I am going to put a link in the description below, but basically if you go to my GitHub page, github.com/Charis the programmer /contact form, right? And then come down here on this green button and click download zip. So this is going to download the code that we're going to use in our project. So let's click show in folder, and let's cut this and bring it onto our desktop. All right, so let's unzip this folder, extract all, right? And then extract, and awesome. So we now have this folder right here. Okay, so let's cut this so that it's just the folder. Okay, so inside here you'll find 3 files, index.php, code.php, and this text file called code snippets. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to cut this file, and we want to open File Explorer. Let's maximize that. And we want to go to our computer, C drive, and Zamp. Remember the folder that we installed Zamp into? We want to go in there, and we want to select this folder called htdocs. Right, so if you go into htdocs, and now we want to paste the folder that we had copied from, that we had downloaded. So I want to just rename this to, I want to remove this part that says master, so that we leave it as just contact-form. Right, if we go inside, you'll see the files are there. All right, so now next I want to minimize this and open my browser. Let's open a new tab in our browser, and we want to type in localhost and then /contact-form. If you press enter, right, okay, it's not working because we haven't started our server. So if we open the Zamp control panel, in case, let's say we hadn't kept it open or we forgot to click it to open, you can just go into your search bar here and type in XAMPP, and it will show up the Zamp control panel. So then we can start the Zamp control panel from here. So what we want to do is we want to come here where it says Apache, our web server, and we want to start Apache. And then when we have it as green, that means Apache is running, as it says here. And right, now when we refresh, we will see this contact form right here. Right, so this is the contact form that we're working with, which is our code that is running here. So once again, if we go back to our C drive, Zamp, htdocs, where our contact form is, if you right click, you'll see this option here that says open with code. We want to click that, and it's going to open Visual Studio Code. Oh, sorry, let's close that. It's going to open Visual Studio Code. Let's maximize that. Visual Studio Code, our text editor. So if you click here on index.php, let me close this. This is the HTML that is producing our form right here. So if you notice, we have contact us, the name and the name field, email field, to whom, subject, and our message box, and then the submit button. And this is the HTML that is controlling that. So our header for contact us, this label, and this input where we put our name, a label and an input for email, etc., etc., whom we're sending it to. And then we have the drop down. If you come here, this drop down here with the three options: Willy Wonka, Winnie the Pooh, and Cherish the Programmer. This is our select box right here, and these are the three options. Right, so this is the HTML that's controlling the contact us form that we're seeing here. If we go, okay, so you'll notice in our form over here, we have form, and then the action is code.php, and the method is post. Now, what this means is when we click our submit button, here's the code for the submit button. So when we click submit over here, this information that's in the form, it's going to get posted to this file code.php. Right, and if we go into our panel here and double click on code.php, this is the PHP code that's going to handle the data that is in our contact form. So if you notice, each one of these input fields, like for example this one, has an ID and it also has a name. Right, so we have name here and we called it name. Here the name of the email input is email. The name of this drop-down select here is whom, and the name of subject here is subject, and the name of our message is comment. Right, so the reason why this name is important is when we get into, when the code is now, when the form rather, is now received, when the code.php runs and it receives the information that's in our form, we use this variable. It's called, in PHP, it's called the global post variable, and we can use it to grab information that is in our form. So when we say here post and then we put quotes and say email, it then grabs whatever has been put here in our input on email, right? And then on name as well, it's gonna grab the information that has been put here in name. So whatever is put here in name and what is put in email, to whom, in our subject, and in our message box, all this stuff is coming in through this post object here. So we use the post to grab the name, to grab the email, to grab the comment, and we are assigning this stuff into variables that we've named email, that we called subject, and comment. So essentially what's going on in this piece of code is we are grabbing the email from our contact form and we are putting it in this variable. This is a variable in PHP. In PHP, whenever you see a $sign and whatever, maybe we'll put, oops, sorry, I accidentally edited that code. So let me just put that back and save. Whenever you see a $sign and whatever arbitrary text after it, this is a variable. So $email is a variable, $name, $subject, $comment. And so what we're doing here is we are grabbing all this information and then we are passing it to this function, right? If you see here, we have mail, and then we have these brackets or parentheses, and then inside we're passing in our variable email, subject, and comment. Basically, mail is a function that we are going to use to send the email. Right, so what we're doing here is we're grabbing the information from our form, and then we're passing it to the email function, and then the email function is going to send whatever we would have put here, it's going to send it by email to the email address that we would have selected here. In this dropdown, when someone selects a dropdown, like for example, if you select Willy Wonka, and we head back to our index.php, it's going to, for example, Willy Wonka has this email in the value. So if someone selects Willy Wonka, we're going to send the email to wonka@gmail.com. If they select Winnie the Pooh, we're going to send the email to winnie@gmail.com. If they select Charis the Programmer, then we're going to send it to my email here, sharklasers1000@gmail.com. So that's the code for this contact page. We have this HTML and we have this code that then sends the email, right? So that's the code that's controlling this page over here. Now, what we need to do before we can start sending emails is we need to configure our Zamp to connect to Gmail so that we can send email through Gmail. So in order to do that, we need to come to this file called codesnippets.txt. So this file just contains some code that we need to, some configuration code that we need to put in on our system so that we can be able to send in emails. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to open this file, czamp.php.ini. Right, so we need to go to this folder location and to open this file called php.ini. So let's go to Explorer. Let's go to C drive, Zamp, PHP, and we're looking for a file called php.ini. Where is it? Sorry, PHP. And I can't seem to find php.ini. This one is php.exe. I'm not sure why we aren't. Okay, maybe this one, php.ini development. Let's open this with Visual Studio Code. Aha, this is the file that we're looking for. Okay, so what we need to do is let's just make a copy of that and paste it there, and we just need to rename this to, let's rename this to php.ini. And yes, we want to change the file extension. It's saying there's already a file. Oh, okay, so sorry, the one we are looking for is this one. It's php.ini. Okay, it's already there. So let's open this with the Visual Studio Code. Aha, exactly, this is the file that we're looking for. So now we want to, if on your keyboard, look at the bottom left corner for the control button and hold Control and press F. That's going to bring up this little menu down here, and we want to search for, type PHP and then underscore open SSL, and then it's gonna jump to the line with this. So we want to make sure that there's no semicolon. If there's a semicolon, the line is gonna turn green. We want to make sure that the line is not green. If there's a semicolon in front here, you want to remove that. That's already done in my file, so that's okay. And once again, we want to go into the search box and we want to search, open a bracket and type in mail function. When you do that, it's going to jump to this line. For now, let's close this. It's going to jump to this line. So what we want to do is we want to highlight this part from SMTP port up to here, and we want to press delete. And let's go back to code snippets up here, and we want to copy these lines. from line 7 until line 10, where it says smtp equals smtp.gmail.com, smtp port equals 465, send mail from, this is the email address that we are sending from, right? So I've put mine, sharklazers1000@gmail.com. You can put in whatever Gmail address you're sending from, and send mail path, right? This is the path to our send mail program. Since we used the default installation, C Zamp, so there's no need to change this unless you've installed your Zamp somewhere different. So let's go back to php.ini over here where we had our mail function, and we want to paste that code there. Right, when that is done, we want to go to File and save this file. All right, and then let's go back to our code snippets. So the next thing we want to do is we want to open this file, C Zamp send mail, and then sendmail.ini. So let's go to Explorer, let's go to C drive, Zamp, send mail, and then we're looking for this file, sendmail.ini, and let's open it with Visual Studio Code. So what we want to do is we want to delete everything that's in this file already. So you wanna highlight everything. A shortcut for highlighting is you can press Control and then A, and it's gonna highlight everything, and you can just press backspace to delete everything that's there. And let's go to code snippets. And in our code snippets, we want to copy everything from line 17, where we see send mail in the square brackets, up to line 25. So we want to copy that and then paste that in our sendmail.ini, and we want to save. So these are the configuration settings. Basically in php.ini, it's telling us we want to connect to Gmail at this address, smtp.gmail.com. We want to use this port, and this is where we're sending email from, and this is our email sending program, right? And then in sendmail, the sendmail.ini configuration file, again, it's telling us, it's telling the computer that we're sending through Gmail. We're using port 465, and this is just telling it to use this file error.log for logging any errors. And auth username is telling us that when we are logging into Gmail, we want to use the username sharklazers1000@gmail.com. Auth password. Now this is your email password. So I've just set my password as Charis the programmer. You want to put your email password, your password for your Gmail over here. And lastly, we want to say force sender, and once again put your Gmail address. So once you are done setting up these configurations, what you want to do is you want to come to the Zamp control panel, and on Apache, we want to stop Apache, and we want to start it again. So stopping and restarting Apache ensures that the new settings that we put in sendmail.ini and in our php.ini are loaded. Right, so I think we are good to go. Our code in code.php looks fine. The code in index.php looks fine. So let's head to our contact form. Right, so name, I'm just gonna put in my name, Charles Mzundini, and the email address. This is the email address that of the person who's sending the email, right? So that we know who to reply back to. So I'll just put in Charles Mzundini@gmail, my Gmail address. Now, to whom? So this is the person, like maybe you're creating a website and there's various people on your website. So maybe you can send it to the CEO of the company secretary, or the webmaster. So here we want to send the email to me. So I'll select Sharklazers, and let's just put a subject. I put in hello world, and I'll say hello from our contact form that we coded in PHP. All right, so hopefully this should work, and it's going to take a bit of a second while it connects. and it says mail sent. Thank you, Charles Muzenzini. We'll contact you shortly. Right, if we go to our Gmail and refresh, this is the sent folder, and we refresh, we'll see over here it sent the email. It says hello from our contact form that we coded in PHP. So that's how we can send emails from our own contact form using PHP. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you'd like to receive more great content on learning how to program, please click the red subscribe button and the bell icon next to it so that you get notifications each time I send a video. If you have any particular questions, anything that you want to learn, like what Mulan did, you can reach out to me on social media. I'm going to put the links to that in the comment section. So ask anything you want. My channel is still small, so I'm not getting that many requests. So it's very likely that if you ask for something, I'll be able to reply. Thank you very much once again for watching this video, and see you later.